Those big phone makers better get used to the increased competition coming from Chinese brands, because if they get asleep at the wheel, phones like this one here might eat their Android desserts pretty soon. This is Daniel from Phone Arena presenting you the dual SIM Oppo R819. Not a very inspiring name, but a pretty inspiring handset, sporting a 4.7-inch HD display. It's the next representative of the new thin and light Chinese mid-range warriors like the Huawei Ascend P6, which wrap decent specs in fine design and slip those to us users at a modest price tag. Sounds like a recipe for success, but has Oppo managed to get the overall experience right? Let's check that out. At 3.88 ounces, 110 grams, the Oppo R819 is the lightest in the mid-range category and one of the thinnest, with its 7.3 millimeters. Because of the plastic build, the Oppo R819 doesn't exude any upscale pretenses, and the metallic ring around the lens that matches the side rim of the phone can't really change that perception. Still, it feels feathery in the palm and is easy to operate with one hand. This glossy white plastic is rather slippery though, despite the etched slight diamond pattern on the back, and since the phone is so thin, the firmness of your grip on it diminishes further, so you have to hold the light handset tighter than usual while handling it. The dual SIM handset actually has a removable back cover if you're really forced to pry it open, but underneath it sports a sealed battery compartment with attached cables and such, so not much to do inside anyway. Oppo provided a SIM tray for both cards on the lower left side, which is easy to push out with a pin. The main SIM is at the bottom of the tray, so you can pull out only half of it and replace the second SIM quickly. It is not hot swappable though, and the phone prompts you to reboot. Unfortunately, the maker couldn't find place for microSD slot as well, so you'll be stuck with the phone's 16 gigs of internal memory. The power lock key on the left and the volume rocker on the right are placed somewhat lower than they should be for completely comfortable operation, and feel rather iffy when pressed with shallow feedback. We found no issues with the response of the capacitive navigational keys underneath the display. The 4.7-inch IPS LCD panel sports 720 by 1280 pixels of resolution, which bring about a very good 312 ppi pixel density, so you'd be hard-pressed to wish for something more in that department. The color representation is accurate, and the tone doesn't lean overly to the warm or cold sides. Display is very bright, north of 600 nits, which aids outdoor usage significantly. When the sun shines directly on the panel though, it is rather reflective, which diminishes the visibility of the otherwise luminant panel. There is some brightness and color shift when you tilt the phone strongly as usual, but overall the viewing angles are in line with what you'd expect from a decent IPS panel. When you order the Oppo R819, you can actually choose between a stock Android experience and Oppo's Color ROM. The custom interface, which looks like one of the numerous Go Launcher skins, sits on top of plain vanilla Android 4.2. The interface features large, colorful, rounded icons, transparent dock and app drawer backgrounds, a few transitional animations you can choose from, a bunch of pretty widgets, and a dark on white color scheme for the menus that is easy on the eye. There are up to 9 home screens you can add, and Oppo has turned one of the home screens into a dedicated music player with an old school turntable visual to turn the song on or off. Now, off to the nitty-gritty about the interface. You can rearrange the dock icons, even the up drawer one, any way you please just by tapping and holding on them. You can use 2 hands or fingers to move an icon or widget around the home screens, like on HTC handsets. Just tap and hold the icon with one finger, then move the home screens with another until you reach the one you intend to place it. There is a swipeable row of connectivity toggles in the notification bar, as with most self-respecting manufacturer overlays these days, but you can actually call the respective setting with all its submenus when you tap and hold on a toggle. A few well-animated lock screen options are present, should you get tired of the default one, but no extra skins or themes for the overall interface. The only thing that raises some eyebrows is that you can't immediately drag an app to the home screen after a long press. You have to actually drag its icon down to an action bar first. The settings menu and the dialer use tapped categories, so have this in mind if you're looking for an option and can't find it in the scroll list. A 1.2 GHz quad-core MediaTek with the PowerVR graphics processor, that's what's in the phone, alongside 1 GB of RAM. Being a frugal Cortex A7 affair though, this processor is no speed king like the A15s in the flagships or even the A9s of yesteryear, so you can expect some lag while you wander around the interface, and uploading isn't quick either. The Oppo R819 comes with 16GB of internal storage, of which about 13 are user available, and unfortunately there is no memory card slot for expansion. Oppo provides only the mobile Chrome browser on the R819, so if you need Adobe Flash rendered on some page, you'd have to sideload it and use a third-party browser. Rendering pages is relatively swift, but scrolling and panning around feels a bit choppy at times, and text reflow doesn't always nail the right column to fit from the first try. Oppo's mid-ranger doesn't really shine in the connectivity department either. You get tri-band European Asian GSM modem setup, Bluetooth 3.0, Wi-Fi Direct, GPS, FM radio, and DLNA. Only one of the SIM cards can be connected to use high-speed data. The other will tag along in 2G mode only, though that reflects pretty favorably on the standby times. The stock gallery is a pretty standard affair with the grid thumbnail arrangement by default and editing options built right into the Photos app interface. Music playback is done either via the dedicated home screen with the turntable we mentioned or the default music app, which is pretty basic with no equalizer presets and a minimalistic UI with transparencies. The player controls stay always on during listening, while in the middle of the display you can swipe back and forth between the album art of the current song and the tunes catalog present on the handset. Turn the phone in landscape and a nice album art carousel appears to swipe through. Oppo has licensed the Dirac HD sound tech, which promises deeper bass and more intelligible voices, as they all do. It does make a difference when you turn it on in headset mode, though it's hard to tell if it's better than similar sound enhancement modes like Beats Audio, for example. Here we ought to mention that the supplied stereo headphones don't fit well in your ears, and it's very easy for them to fall off. The loudspeaker is also of average quality, strong enough, but with rather thin sound. The video player has a similar carousel in landscape mode to the music one, but with screenshots of the video files along with their titles, so you can swipe and preview before playback. The handset plays everything you throw at it, including DivX, XVD, MKV files, and that's up to 1080p resolution without any hiccups. We have subtitle support, loop playback functionality, screen brightness adjustment right from the interface, round up an excellent video player that comes standard with the Oppo R819. The 8-megapixel camera on the phone comes with LED flash that has a dedicated torch mode button. There's also a 2-megapixel front-facing camera with wide 88 degrees viewing angle, so you can fit everyone around you in the video chat session like on HTC's handset lately. The front cam is also used for other features like an always-on screen while you look at it and swiping your hand in front of the phone to accept a call. Oppo uses an Exmor R sensor from Sony for the rear cam with wide f2.0 aperture and backside illumination, plus 5 elements lens, all the makings of a good mobile phone camera these days. The camera app opens with sufficient speed and the phone focuses quickly, plus shot times are very fast. Oppo claims 0.6 seconds and we can attest that seems to be the case, perhaps thanks to the dedicated image signal processor. Oppo provides large, touch-friendly buttons in the camera interface and easy to select shooting modes like HDR, panorama, night, sports and sunset, as well as Beauty Plus that enhances skin tones and removes blemishes. We also get the pictures and video shutter buttons on one screen, saving us the switch from one mode to the other. The outdoor pictures came out very nice, with vivid yet not oversaturated colors. The photos sport plenty of detail and correct white balance measurements. The exposure algorithms are also balanced with only slightly overexposed bright areas here and there. Indoors, the phone keeps noise levels in check for the sake of some softness in the image, but white balance is accurate and the flash doesn't cast weird shadows in the image. Video is captured with 1080p resolution and smooth 30 frames per second without visible artifacts, and the phone is quick to adjust the exposure while panning it around. Noise levels, however, creep up significantly in low-light video capture, though the footage still stays at fluid 30 frames per second. Those SIM handsets seemed as an afterthought until recently. That's why we are glad the Oppo R819 finally delivers this functionality in a well-designed mid-ranger with good specs and acceptable performance. It sports compact chassis, good call quality, very bright HD display, and fine camera, all for about $350 or €270 unsubsidized. There aren't major gripes with the handset, save for the sluggish chipset, and there's hardly a match in the dual SIM universe for its specs and price, except the version of Huawei Ascend P6 with 2 SIM cards. That same handset is Oppo's phone main competitor, as it features svelte premium design for a tad higher price, but its camera quality is inferior. We can also chalk off the LG Optimus F7 as a direct competitor, if you find no need for a second SIM slot, as it has similar specs and price, albeit with a larger battery. The Sony Xperia ZR can also be put forth, though it will run you more and doesn't come with such a thin compact design like this one here. All in all, if you're looking for an affordable Android mid-ranger with dual SIM abilities, the Oppo R819 is hard to beat right now. This was a video review of the Oppo R819 from Phone Arena. For more information about this and other handsets, you can visit us at phonearena.com. Thanks for watching.